Coach Shawn here. There's a conversation that almost no one is having honestly, and that is this. What does parental alienation actually feel like from an adult child's point of view? Because most of the time we only hear one side. We hear about the estranged parent, the grief for the alienated parent, the confusion and the devastation on that side. But if we're going to understand this fully, we have to be willing to look at the other side too. And I've taken some time, and I want to say this clearly before I begin. This is not about situations where a child was truly abused. Okay, this is not what this is about. This is about parental alienation and estrangement when there is still love and compassion and understanding. And I hope some form, some way, and this is about trying to understand it and work through it to hopefully have a connection again, a healthy one, and if not, then to try to find some peace, because this is not easy. These are our children, and if you're a child watching this, you're talking about your parents, and this is fundamental, to your well-being and your health, and for all of us. So, if you were abused emotionally, physically, or psychologically, that is not about this. Okay, so this is about miscommunication, a lot of it, and possibly even a lot of misperceptions. So this is real, and this is valid. This is not, we're not here to sugarcoat it. This is not easy. What we're talking about is psychological, and it's very confusing, and it's difficult for everyone involved. But I want to talk a little bit starting now from the child's experience, and how it starts and how it moves along. And at first, the adult child, it's a gradual shift. Most adult children don't just wake up one day and decide to cut off a parent. It doesn't really happen like that. It happens slowly through conversations and over time. It's kind of like a chipping away of understanding between the parties, and it begins to shape the relationship over time. And if you have another parent who is constantly digging at the other parent to the child, well, at first, the child is going to, not like it, the adult child or whatever, and then the child is going to accept it if it's been told enough. It's kind of like a brainwashing. They start reinterpreting their memories, and the alienating parent is trying to connect the dots for that child, and eventually that child has rewritten history in their own mind, and they truly believe it. It's like they feel like they're stepping into a truth, but what they don't realize is how much they have been influenced behind the scenes by a parent who wants to try to get that child to not like the other parent. As a matter of fact, cut the other parent off altogether. It's unbelievably cruel. But when you hear something repeatedly enough from someone you trust as your parent, it starts to feel like a fact. And so most of these kids start to believe it. And even if it's not the full picture, they start to run with the narrative. And then the conflict starts to come in. The adult child starts to feel torn because they still love the parent, and they still want to be with that parent, and then they begin to have all these negative emotions towards that parent, and they start questioning everything, and then they feel guilty because they're pulling away, and they feel that they're not loyal to the other parent. It's very toxic on the child. It's extremely toxic on the child. And so I say the child, but the person. Typically, these things tend to manifest themselves about the end of a marriage, of course. If you're talking about parental alienation, the kids are usually older, high school, college, and they're very influenced at that age. You would think when they were younger, they would be more influential, but they're actually not. They're actually more steadfast. It's not till they get older that they're influenced, obviously, by society and the alienating parent. And so it becomes very confusing for them. They start creating distance. There's less calls, less visits, less emotional access. They're telling themselves this is healthy. You know, I'm setting boundaries. This is great. I'm living my life. I'm not being dependent, you know, whatever. They think that they're in the right. They got the other parent in their ear, or, you know, society telling them you're doing the right thing. You know, you need to set boundaries with your parents. You need to protect your peace. Maybe part of that's true, but maybe part of it is not. And they're young and they don't know. And think about how hard it is for us as adults trying to navigate and figure out what's best for our children and for ourselves, and moving forward in the world. It's not easy, and we're learning it. And every day is a struggle, and every day we learn something new. And our kids are doing the same thing. And there's a lot of confusion, and they're going to take that anger and confusion out on the safer parent. They don't understand why they're doing it, but they know that they can't do it to the alienating parent. That parent will not, that's not going to happen. That parent will control the narrative, and they know that. So they're kind of trapped. And so then it moves into fully disconnected child. And the reason it tends to move into this is because they're being tormented. When they see you, they feel guilt, confusion, anger, sadness, love. And it's just a lot of emotion, and they don't know what to believe. They want to be happy. They want to live their lives. They're young, and they want to have, you know, peace. So for a lot of them, and for us, you know, think about when maybe you've decided to walk away from someone, or not speak with someone because you're hurt or angry, and then some time goes by and you miss them, or you would like to speak to them, and you change your mind. That happens all the time. And it happens in these situations too. These kids, they go away because they need to protect themselves. And sometimes, yes, they stay away. And it's sad. You know, a lot of these kids feel it's a testament of strength, you know, and resilience and independence. And it's not. You know, the story, if you take a stick and you crack it, one stick, it's easy. But if you take a bunch of tiny sticks and you put them together and you try to crack it, you can't. Well, you're always going to do better with your family. Unless, like I said, they're extremely toxic. So we're going to put that one over here. So I'm going to say we're always going to do better with our family. We're going to put the exceptions over here because that's kind of a common sense thing, right? So once the narrative has just fully taken hold, you know, that child's going to sink in. I mean, they're gonna double down. You know, they don't want to deal with all these emotions anymore, and they just want to make a decision. Bad parent, good parent, good, bad, black, white, done. But we know that life isn't really like that. There's a lot of nuances, and life happens to all of us. And they're going to grow up, and they're going to get married, and they're going to have their kids, and maybe, God, I hope they don't get divorced. But if they do, God forbid, if they meet someone, you know, who's not healthy or toxic. So life happens to all of us, and so what happens on the other side? You know, what happens on the other side? Well, on the other side, you've got a parent who's missing their kids. And this parent is living a completely different reality than the child. It's a reality filled with ups and downs, where people never see. It's a daily struggle where you know, none of us are perfect, and we all have regrets, especially as we get older. But then when you don't have a relationship with your children, or you are navigating a broken family, you obviously are going to question even more and analyze even more everything, so that you can try to make it right. And then there's the days where it hits so hard that you can't. It's really hard to function. You know, holidays, birthdays, special occasions. The longing is, it can be, as you know, debilitating. So it's painful. It is not an easy experience. And you're missing a part of yourself because, well, if you're a woman, they physically came from your body. So sorry, guys. And if you're a guy, of course, your dad, you know, these are your kids. You're physically missing a part of yourself. They're a living, breathing part of your life, and they're suddenly gone. And there's no closure. There's no explanation that fully makes sense. Because it doesn't. it's not as if you can't make amends. It's not as if you can't go to counseling. It's not as if you can't work through the past. It's not as if you can do all those things. The problem is if you're dealing with alienation, there's a loyalty bind. And it's not about mending the relationship with you. It's about that other parent keeping that loyalty bind. And they're not that other parent. They're not going to want, they don't want the kids having a relationship with you. They want you erased and they want you gone. Period. End of discussion. So, that's hard to do because you do want to go away. I get it. You just want to go, have it. I'm out. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. It hurts. I don't want to play this game. So you go away for a while. This is what I found. And you lick your wounds when you stay gone for a while. And then you think, these are my kids and I miss them. Now, not all of you, and it does depend on the circumstance. Some of you are done and done and done and done. That's it. Some of you constantly keep up contact, and that's you keep sending the birthday gifts and the cards and all that, and that's tough because if you don't get a response on that, that takes a hit to your soul. So the question is, what is a good parent? Was I a good parent? Could I have done things better? What could I do now? There's always questions. And we're always looking for answers. And we're always trying to make it make sense. And we're always trying to find peace and try to maybe stop that pain or that feeling in your heart or in your stomach that we get when we know we've been disconnected from people that we love very, very much. And our children, obviously, we love very, very much. And that's where our mind starts to spiral. And the longing and all of everything that comes underneath it and the hurt and the pain. And you just want the connection again. You just want to talk. You want to laugh. You just want to feel like we're okay. You just want to feel, safe, at peace, safe again. Because there's been so much disruption, especially if it was a case of alienation and you went through the divorce and all of that. That's just horrible. Even if it's a case of estrangement, thank God you're not dealing with an alienating parent, but it still feels like your arms have been ripped off because they're your child. And you don't have contact with them anymore. And yes, children are supposed to grow up, blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, keep that over here. I don't want to hear it. I just don't. I mean, Jesus is God's son, and he talked to his dad every day on earth. And so don't tell me kids are supposed to grow up and go away, because no, they don't. No, they're not. They don't. That's not healthy. Sure, you don't want to be enmeshed, but there is a healthy balance, and not having family contact at all is not healthy for anyone. So with that being said, what happens over time? Well, you hope that the child will start to question the narrative. The adult child experiences will come through, and they will analyze life experiences and see that maybe what they thought was how things were not exactly how things were. And in the meantime, I know it is not easy. I know some days are better than others. But what I want to say to all you parents out there is this: don't give up. Keep praying. Pray for your children. Pray for clarity and wisdom for yourself as well. Pray for peace. I know that feeling that's right here that doesn't go away. I know. But you give it to God and you keep praying. And when you can find the strength again, if you can find it, you pick yourself up again, you keep going, and you extend that olive branch if you want to. If you feel like maybe doing it, to have that strength that day, to reach out and say, hey, I love you, I miss you, I'm thinking about you. And if you don't want to do that, you've been slapped back too many times, that's okay too. Then you go have your day, carry on, say a prayer, send that love out into the universe to your children, and know that you're not alone. And we're all working through the same things. And I'm here. There's a few of us out there that I've seen that are doing this work. And, I have a Tuesday night group with a lot of women, and I've got some men who keep wanting to join. So you guys, please join. You guys keep saying, are there any men? Well, there can't be men if you guys don't join. So please join. And there's a lot of male parents out there going through the same thing. And so you guys deserve to speak with people too There's some couples, and sometimes the men will join with the wives, especially if there's other men. So please think about that. And then, of course, there's always one-on-ones, which help so much to talk through this and use tools to work through issues, especially anxiety. And then, I would say this, time. And I know it feels like it's already been so long, and I know it feels like time just keeps marching on. But never give up hope. Always have faith, and know that it will all work out in the end. Right? We all know that it will. So, Coach Shawn here, sending you my love, and I will see you again soon.